Most people, they think that you are stuck with the memory you're born with. Not true. It's not true. You can train your memory to get better and better, and memory experts, these are the people who memorize long poems or long names, faces. They're just like you and me. They forget where they put their car keys and their cell phones, but they can train their memory to do really impressive stuff like memorizing playing cards. Oh, here's a deck of cards. How convenient. Do you guys want to see a little demonstration of memory? Okay, so this is different from what I was showing you so far, because this is not a magic trick. This is just a memory demonstration. And I'm going to do it the easy way and the hard way. But before I do, you were impressed with even that. But before I do, I'm really going to shuffle up the cards, and you can see that I'm really mixing them up, right?
Yes.
Right? Because magicians, sometimes we do the false shuffle things. That was not one of them. So we're going to do it the easy way and then the hard way. First, the easy way. And I'm only going to use a couple of cards for this. Let me just take out a couple of cards in particular. You can even look over my shoulder to make sure I'm not doing anything fancy, taking the cards out. And now I should have about 12, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We'll get rid of these because I didn't want them. Good. The easy way first, then the hard way. We're going to mix these up, and very quickly, I'm going to remember the order. So go ahead, everyone, help me mix these cards up on the table.
I do this?
Just like that.
I do this? I do?
Not you, everyone but you. That was good. And now I'm going to look through them very, very quickly. Try to remember the order. Here we go. Okay. If that worked, we should have all the red cards here and the black cards here. Let's see. There's all the red and there's all the black. Right. Again, this is the easy way. Let's not get excited yet. That's the easy way, which leaves me with one blindfold. And I want you guys to know that these are not special marked cards. Magicians have marked cards. So we're going to do it again, but this time, after the cards get mixed, I'm going to put the blindfold on before we separate them. So again, everyone help me mix the cards here. We're going to mix them up, mix them up. That's good. Gather them up in some order. Good.
I'm gathering?
You're doing a great job of it.
Just jumped on it.
All right. And now I'll very quickly memorize the order. Let's see. Are the cards face up or face down?
They're just down.
Okay, that's good. All right, here we go. So if I did this right, once again, we should have the reds here and the blacks here. Let's see, all the reds there and all the blacks. Again, this is just the easy stuff. Now it's time to do the real stuff, okay? The real stuff, we're going to use the rest of the deck of the cards. And if you remember, you saw me shuffle them. We shuffled them again. And there's, let's see, 52 minus 20. There's a lot of cards in here, yeah? And I'm going to memorize them all in just 15 seconds. So someone can time me. Here we go.
1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 6 1,000, 7 1,000, 8 1,000, 9 1,000, 10 1,000, 11.
Done. Don't need all the 15 seconds. One of the things that makes this hard is we're using more cards. Also, we're going to make it harder because we're going to mix up the order of the cards before I do it, which means I not only have to memorize the order, but I got to keep track of the order as the cards are getting mixed up. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, it's really hard. Let's see how. So we'll do a pile of cards there, maybe a pile there, and some cards there and there and there. Some piles are big, some are small. Okay. Put one of the piles in my hand. Okay. Next pile. Next pile.
Yeah, you got it.
Next pile.
I got it.
Next.
Making it hard for yourself.
And I'll do the last one. All right, now, before I do this, I'm going to quickly flip through the cards to show you that it's not like all the reds and blacks are grouped together or anything. They're really mixed up in the random order from my shuffle and from the order that you all put them in. Cards are face down, right? This one goes here, this one goes here, and then there's two there. Oh, yeah. Sometimes I just got it. Yeah, sometimes you have to do it. And then one here, and then I think two here, and one there. One. How many are left?
You got, I can't tell.
We'll do
A few.
this one here. And this. That was dramatic.
Yeah, it was.
Let's see how I did. So we're 1 for 1. That was the win. 2 for 2. Every card over here. There's all the black cards. And there's all the red ones.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, right? There we go. That's what I said. That's what I said.
Hello, everybody out there in Facebook, YouTube, and everywhere else. I'm Eric Tate alongside Nick Lacapo. Welcome to the Coolbox Live. Nick, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, Eric. Doing good. It's another weekend, and let's talk about some magic tricks.
I'm all in to talk about magic tricks, man. We got some really, really great stuff going on tonight. Are you excited for the lectures on the show?
Tonight, of course. Yeah, I'm always excited about the lectures. I'm excited for all the, we got a lot of downloads tonight. So if you guys like, the downloads take over pretty much the whole show tonight. If you're just joining us for the first time, basically here on the Cool Box, we are here to give away great deals on magic products on penguinmagic.com. So every week, Eric and I put together a list of about 20 or so tricks that you can save at a minimum 25% off. So anything that we talk about in this show, you can head on over to penguinmagic.com and on checkout, enter the promo code CoolboxLive and you will save 25% off of that trick. So we're going to go through a list of 25, not 25, we're going to go through a list of downloads. We get some lectures to talk about and then some physical product as well.
Yeah, we have a whole bunch of great stuff to talk about. I just want to go over here and comment on the chat because we are looking at the chat live right now. We can see everybody who's in here. As always, Mighty's showing up here. Mighty was actually informing us that he picked up his copy of one of the first things we're going to be talking about tonight, which is Diamond Jim Tyler Live.
Oh, he snuck in there early, huh?
He snuck in there early. We're already calling him a stream sniper, but we've got Fraser Harvey saying hi from Regina, Canada. Thomas Conger on YouTube saying hello. Then we've got Anthony Walter talking to us about bipolar over here in the Facebook chat. It sounds like he's a big fan of that. And we've got Anthony Walker asking about what Brett Morton was asking what the trick was in the video that we were watching before we went live, and that was a performance of binary code from Rick Lax, which I think we might be talking about tonight.
Yeah, that's going to come up a little bit later. If you want to jump ahead, you can just go ahead and grab binary code now. But yeah, if you're not familiar with it, great trick. And Rick actually fooled Penn and Teller with that trick. So we'll talk a little bit about that later.
Timothy Ambrose saying he's a first-timer. Glad to have you here, Timothy. Anthony Walker asking if anything is free tonight. We usually sneak a free trick or two in. I think we might even have one
free trick tonight. Yep, for sure.
Yeah, let's and I think we should probably get to it. Should we? Because we have right now. I'm seeing a lot of confusion over in the YouTube chat. A lot of people are talking about the DJT lecture, and people are wondering what it is. And we're talking about Diamond Jim Tyler Live.
Well, yeah,
phenomenal lecture. Really, really good.
We like to start the show off with like a crazy deal. Now, unfortunately, the crazy deals that we have a limit to them, right? So only the first X amount of people can even get it. And this is the case today. It is already sold out. But just for right now, Diamond Jim Tyler Live is a fantastic lecture just filled with so much magic. Today, it is currently in the cool box. Now, what does that mean? If you go to penguinmagic.com, on the right side, right underneath the best sellers list, you'll see the cool box. And every day we put a new item in that box, and whatever's in there is heavily marked down. I think in this case, it's 50% off right now for Diamond Jim Tyler Live.
Yeah.
And then in addition to that, if you enter in our promo code CoolBox Live, you'd save an additional 25%, giving you 75% off whatever's in the cool box on Sunday. Unfortunately, though, the cool box does run out. There's only so many people that can take advantage of that deal, and it is sold out at the moment. But you can still get Diamond Jim Tyler for 25% off, bring it to $22.
Let's talk about Diamond Jim in just a little bit, because as cool as this is, there was something that was talked about earlier, which is that there are some free stuff in the show tonight, and we're going to talk at great length about Diamond Jim a little bit later, because you are still going to be able to get it on discount. But let's go ahead and talk about Just the Way I Like It by Alvo Stockman.
Well, sure. Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of free stuff on Penguin. And in fact, again, if you go to the site and on the left side in the toolbar there, at the very bottom, you'll actually see a link that says free magic. And that'll link you to every free product that is on Penguin Magic. And the stuff is really free. You don't have to enter in a credit card or anything. You just add it to your cart, go to checkout, hit checkout, and boom, it is in your Penguin account. So we always like to highlight a few free tricks on this show just to, talk about them, because, there's a lot of stuff on there that is just kind of up there, uploaded from anybody. As a lot of you know, we do have a partner program where people can submit magic, and sometimes they put free magic up there too. So it is loaded with a lot of stuff to weed through. Anyway, so we like to highlight a few. And yes, just the Way I Like It by Alvo Stockman's a really fun coffee shop trick, where essentially you're right. The trick is, on the cup, Eric, they got the little squares where you mark off what sweetener is used in the cup.
Yeah, and I think in Starbucks it's even what type of trick, or what type of it is
milk
now.
Or syrup or whatever. Anyway, you've secretly marked one of those, right? You don't show it to your audience, and then you're using everything around you. You're using the cup, you're using those wooden stirrers, and then you're also using the straws. And on each wooden stirrer, you write the 5 different things that are on the cup, and then you stick them each individually into a straw so that they can't be seen. It's kind of wild, but it's a fun process. To get to the point, the spectator chooses one of these sticks that say one of the things on it. You show that all of them say a different thing, but they just so happen to choose the one that's already marked on the cup.
I'm seeing Anthony Walker in the chat here saying, isn't the free magic basically just the easy tricks? And I don't think so. I mean, I think that there's some free magic that shows up on Penguin periodically that is really good. And it may be easy, but that doesn't mean it's not good. We've had a couple of interesting ebooks and videos in here that go through a whole bunch of different stuff. And this trick in particular is really great.
Yeah,
the setup's really easy, but the overall effect is really powerful. What you can't see is on the video between us. If you actually go to penguinmagic.com and check out the demo video for this, you see basically a full performance of Jay Noblezada doing this to a barista who is very familiar with the props and materials that he's dealing with, and she's floored. She's blown away. I think it's actually coming up right now. You can't hear it because we're talking over it, but she goes, "Oh my God, that was amazing. Can we do it again?" It's super good.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not immediately repeatable. I mean, you just have to set the whole thing up again.
Yeah, she wants to do it again, though. Is my point is that it's a great trick. It's a really solid
great trick. Yeah, really strong trick, and it's easy, and it's a direct hit every time.
Yeah.
It takes advantage of all the different things around you. Just go grab it. It's free. Yeah. So
super good. Let's move on to the next thing, because the next thing is actually the downloads, the big downloads that we do every week. We've got a slightly larger list than usual, which is a lot of fun, because the next thing we're going to be talking about right now is the 10-card poker deal by Luke Jermay. I really like this. We've talked about this in the past, and I'm starting to get more and more interested in poker deals myself. Not the least of which because I was messing around with some John Bannon poker deals. But this poker deal by Luke Jermay is really, really good. And This is loaded with value. Normally this is 15. It's marked down an exceptional amount. If you enter the promo code Coolbox Live, you get this for $3.71.
$3.
So more than 25% off with this. This is basically free. But what you're also getting with this is Luke Jermay going over the way he does the 10-card poker deal. And he goes even further than that because you also get, I think it's Matt...
is it Matt Johnson?
It's Matt Johnson.
Right?
Matt Johnson talks about the way he does this, which is really, really interesting. Matt Johnson, phenomenal performer, but you get both Luke Jermay and Matt Johnson talking through the same 10-card poker deal, which is awesome.
Yeah, and if you don't know what a poker deal is, it's basically tell us what a poker deal is, Eric.
A poker deal is so the 10-card poker deal is a classic plot in Magic where you have 10 cards and you very often in most poker deals and including in this one, your audience is making all of the choices. They're choosing like which cards you get, which cards they get. I think in this one it's a little bit different because you're both like choosing cards randomly.
Right, I think it goes back and forth. If I remember correctly.
But essentially there are 10 cards. The spectators have genuinely free choices, and at the end of it, you end up winning. And what's really cool is with some poker deals, you can even turn it into like a bit of a prediction depending on which one you do it with. This one is really straightforward. The outcome is not always the same, which is really nice. Because there are some 10-card poker deals where they're always going to end up with this particular hand, or you're going to end up with this particular hand. And with this one, the outcomes are not infinite, but there are multiple outcomes. You could essentially repeat the trick over and over again, and they would have different hands, and you can always win. But also, because of the way it works, you can also set it up so that they win every time.
Right.
It's a really, really interesting effect. That's it's well worth your time. And as the chat is pointing out, like this is like early Jermay when he first went to Vegas.
Right. Yeah. If you've never done a poker deal, this was the first Penguin download I ever got.
Oh yeah.
Way back. Yeah. And I had no idea what a poker deal was. And I was totally fooled by how such a thing could be possible, especially after watching the performance. I'm like, you mean I can control that? Really? That's something I can learn how to do?
Yeah.
And the secret is really satisfying once you understand the basic idea behind it all. So great trick for $3. Come on.
Yep. And Frank Sauce over here in the Facebook chat saying laymen love 10-card poker deals and out of this world style effects. Like absolutely 100%. They love this stuff. I mean, the reactions on this are super duper strong.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we move on, Nick?
Let's move on.
Let's move on
the
to
next one up.
Binary Code by Rick Lax.
We watched a full performance of this at the beginning here. And this is a 3-phase memory demonstration routine where essentially the first phase, you have the cards are mixed. You pull out 12 random cards from the deck. You kind of have them even, like, I don't know, 6 red cards, 6 black cards. Those are mixed up. And then while they're face down, you're able, well, first of all, you look at the spread and you memorize it. Then you turn them face down, and via memory, you're able to separate them red and black. Then you do it again, but you up the stakes a little bit. This time you're blindfolded because maybe the spectators thought you could like see, maybe you had marked cards or something. So you wear a blindfold and the 12 cards are mixed again, but yet you are still able to separate them red and black. And then for the big finale, you do it with the remainder of the deck. You have the spectators mix the cards up a little bit beforehand, and then you're able to, while blindfolded, separate the entire deck red and black. Rick actually performed this. I mean, this is something I know. I've known a lot of Rick's Magic, and a lot of times he gets really hooked on something, and this was one of those. And he did this for years. Go ahead.
Oh no, just because like there's like Binary Code, then there's Binary Code 2.0, and he's done even more stuff with it because he's like really enamored with this trick. I mean, this is what he took on Fool Us. Yeah,
and he fooled him with it.
Yeah.
So, this is a great method to be able to do a memory demonstration. I can't say that there's no memory work involved because there is, but there isn't at the same time. Rick is going to teach you a really, really cool memory technique to be able to do phase 1 and 2, because phase 1 and 2 are basically for real, but it's not hard at all, especially when you learn the system that Rick is going to teach you here, because you're actually doing it from memory. You're really doing it. And that's setting you up for the third phase, because the first 2 phases are so impossible. The third phase is a magic trick. So you're going to be able to split the entire deck up, and it's really clever the way that works. With the structure of the routine of how you get the deck ready from the beginning of the trick to the end is really, really so cool, and you'll really enjoy this if you've never seen it.
I really like this as well. This is a lot of fun. This is definitely one of those that I like memory demonstrations because they live in that realm where your audience can like relate to them, because everyone like knows about having to memorize something, whether or not it's whether or not it's something that like, they had to memorize for school, or like they were in a school play or something like that, or they had to memorize a bunch of facts and figures for work. Everybody knows that memorizing things can be difficult. And so when you actually do like a speed memory demonstration, they often just take for granted that you're doing it for real, even if you're using the chicanery of a magician. And you get big reactions with memory demonstrations, especially when you do it correct. It's fantastic.
You know what's funny, and this is just behind. I filmed that project that we watched, and this is the same time that we were filming the marked card stuff.
Oh.
And I believe, and it's funny because he's not using marked cards, but I think the cards that he's using are marked, even though he's not using that as the method.
John Green here in the YouTube chat saying this contains great ideas from Lewis Jones of the UK, and that I need to check out Lewis Jones material. I will check out Lewis Jones material. I always love hearing new magicians I should check out. And Mark DiTullio in the Facebook chat asking a really good question. First of all, hey Mark, always good to see you in the chat. We love having you here every week. But asking a really good question, and Nick, you might be able to answer this better than I can, and I think I do know the answer, but is binary code 2 have the first binary code? And I think the answer is no. I think that they are different enough that he does not teach the original binary code in binary code 2.
But does it come with binary code? I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah. Why don't you take a quick look at that, because that is a really good question.
But yes, it is a different routine.
It's a different routine, and there are elements that are similar, but I think that if he does cover binary code in binary code 2, that it glosses over it. Alan Morgan actually jumping into the YouTube chat and correcting us. No, they're separate entirely. I think I believe he refers to elements of binary code 1, but they are very, very different in the end.
Yeah. I actually forget the real good differences between the two, mainly because I just had to brush up on binary code 1. Oh, hey, I filmed binary code 2 as well. Look at that. Anyway. I film so much magic, sometimes it all gets jumbled together, and so we appreciate having folks like Mark and like Alan and John in the chat who can sort of jog our memories from time to time. Yeah, I think that was one of those things, Eric, where when binary code 2 came out, like there was this like weird uproar, and I say uproar, probably wasn't that big a deal, but like where people feel like they got gypped because they bought binary code 1, even though it was like, I don't know, maybe it came out a year later or something like that. But that's just how those things go.
Well, let's move on to the next thing on the list tonight. Let's start talking about Stapled by Luke Jermay. This is one that I was unaware of until we brought it up, and I watched it earlier this week, and I'm so glad that I did, because I think this is going to go into my regular set.
Yeah.
This is a sandwich routine that happens on the outside of a card box. So follow me here a little bit with this, and you're gonna see Luke between us actually doing a performance of it silently as I narrate it. But essentially, he takes 2 jokers out of the deck, and he shows you that they're just the jokers, and then he staples them to the card box, which is just like immediately your audience is hooked, because they're like, what is this crazy person stapling cards to the box with? Then you have a card signed, selected, signed, returned to the deck. The deck goes in the box, and then you rip the 2 jokers off of the back of the box. Keep in mind they've been stapled to it, and you reveal that the signed selected card is between the jokers that were stapled to the outside of the box. It's a mind job.
Cool.
It's so
really
cool. And like the cool thing is too is that like we all know that Luke is a mentalist, but this is not a mentalism trick. This is just a straight up I think he even calls it a crummy card trick in the tutorial, but it's not. It's amazing. It's so good. And I think this is Stapled sort of reminded me what I like so much about mentalists is that all of the best mentalists are secretly wannabe dynamite card magicians. I mean, this reminds me of like something you would see in Darren Brown's Devil's Picture book.
Sure.
It reminds me of some of the card work that Darren Brown does. Luke Jermay, no slouch when it comes to a deck of cards, phenomenal card performer, but just known for mentalism. But here is a really, really great trick. It's super duper good. 90 Day Fiance popping in the YouTube chat saying Chris Angel did this and the poker deal on Mind Freak, which, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, if this was good enough to be on Mind Freak, it should be good enough to be in your act. And if you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive at checkout, you're going to get it for a couple of bucks off. You're going to get it for like $7. It's super good.
Man, those early Mind Freak seasons had so much good magic in it.
Yeah, they really did.
Yeah. And some of that stuff's hard to find now. That'd be interesting to go back and kind of scrub through all the old episodes and see what he did. Yeah. But yeah, talk about doing something different, right? And it's not that hard to have on you. Right? Like
no,
to be able to do this anytime.
There's no gimmicks with this.
Right.
I think is something. It's a really clever handling that Luke has come up with, and the only sort of like gimmick you need is a stapler, right? And it's not even a gimmick stapler. It's just like you need to be in a position where you either brought a stapler with you or a stapler is at hand. I mean, like this is the kind of thing that like when I had a day job, when I was like working a 9-to-5 job, this is totally the kind of trick that I would have done in the office when someone was like, hey,
sure,
Eric's a magician. Eric, can you show him a card trick? I would have like grabbed a stapler and been like, buckle up, kids. We're going to staple some cards together. It's great. Yeah,
it would be totally set up. I mean, the audience immediately knows they're about to see something they've never seen before, right?
Yeah. So Fraser Harvey in the Facebook chat is asking a good question. So each time you do the trick, do you need a new deck of cards? The answer is no. You could theoretically do this with the kings or the queens or a pair of aces instead of the jokers. You do ruin between 1 and 3 cards in that you put little staple holes in them, but you would give those cards away as a souvenir anyway. It doesn't wreck the entire deck, and it doesn't wreck the box in such a way that the box is unusable or that it will damage other cards later. You are literally just stapling the 2 jokers to the outside of the box.
Right, and it leaves you with a little bit of punch work now, Eric, right? So you could...
Yeah. And another good question here from Thomas Conger. Is it the staple that makes the trick work? Could you trap the cards together another way? I don't want to get too deep into the specific method in that, like, I'm not going to give it away because obviously, like, this is Luke's trick and I don't want to just, like, give this away. But you do need to use a stapler for this, just because of sort of the handling and the way it goes together. Like, you wouldn't want to use, like, double stick tape or... like you wouldn't use a tack for this. You would want to use a stapler, just because of like the sort of the way the routine is put together and the way the handling goes together. The staple makes it more impossible. I think that's a fair way to say it.
Yeah.
And then Anthony Walker saying, I have the force deck, all cards of the same card. No, with this you don't need a forcing deck. You can just use any regular deck of cards. But it is a walk-around trick. You could do this as a walk-around trick, I think, is a good way to put that. We're just getting a lot of questions about this, Nick. People are very interested in stapled. This is a walk-around trick, because Luke actually talks about how you could use like a pocket stapler, like one of those little mini staplers for this. You could definitely use a mini stapler for this. You don't need like a big swing line.
Let's get stapled in the top 20, man.
We absolutely should. This is really good. I feel like this it's not a difficult trick. It's well within the skill level of I assume anybody watching this particular. I mean, if you're asking questions this detailed, this is within your skill level. Just get yourself a stapler. I think the hardest part might be that we don't have staplers in our house. I think I looked for a stapler yesterday when I was looking at this trick, and we were either out of staples in the house or I didn't have a stapler in the house.
Well, I was trying to think if there was another stapled trick, but no, this is a great trick. Fantastic trick. These old Luke Jermay, I say old, but this early Jermay stuff is really, really strong. And I would just be excited to do this trick because it's just different, super different.
Yeah, absolutely. I would find a way to bring a stapler with me to a gig, even just a tiny little pocket stapler. Nick, let's move on to the next one. This is one that you definitely had a big hand in. This is Tarbell Lesson 20, How to Please Your Audience.
So the Tarbell course in Magic, every trick in the book, Dan and I filmed these for 5 years, all 113 lessons. I can't even remember. So in the show, we kind of like to highlight a couple. There's actually 2 this week. And this one, there is no tricks in this lesson. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. I just want to tell you what this lesson is, and that you can get it for a little bit cheaper. So if you're trying to fill out your Tarbell collection, you know, maybe you don't have this one. Now tonight you can get it for 25% off. This is an interview. Well, it's not really an interview. It's a discussion with Dan Harlan and Michael Amar about showmanship and magic, essentially how to please your audience. That's, you know, Tarbell suffers from these really horrible old titles from back in the day when they were written in the 40s and 30s. How to please your audience is essentially, we're talking about how to capture their imagination, how to be original, how to work on your timing, humor, showmanship, personality, everything that it takes to put together a quality show. So there are no tricks in this lesson. It's all theory. Now, if you've never ingested anything that's theory based, this might be a great place to start because it's with Michael Amar, who's just one of the best teachers that's ever existed. So if you're into theory and you're trying to work on stagecraft, this is a great discussion on that topic.
Excellent download. I think it's well worth it. I personally love listening to theory, and of course I could listen to Michael Amar and Dan Harlan talk about theory all day, and so listening to them talk in the same lesson is worth it. Seeing John Green here on the YouTube chat saying, using Coolbox to add more Tarbell to my resources, that's a perfect use of this show, John, is adding more Tarbell to your collection. It's fantastic, and this one is really good. Enter the promo code CoolboxLive at checkout. You're going to get it for $7. It's super good. Nick, let's move on to another trick that I'm really digging. Again, this is a money trick. This is by Rick Lax and Justin Flom. This is Transaction. This is a really cool transposition. This actually comes directly from Justin Flom's working repertoire. Rick was working on something, and then he was talking to Justin about it, and Justin showed him this, and it blew Rick away, and then they worked together to put it out with Penguin. Essentially what happens here is you've got two $10 bills and a $20 bill, and you put the $20 bill in your audience members' hands, and then you wave the two $10 bills, and they magically transform visually in front of your audience's face into a 20. You open it up, show both sides, the audience opens their hands, and they've got the 10s. It's really good. This I will say a couple of caveats about this. It does only work with a 10 and a 20. There are things that work in play that take advantage of those particular bills. So this is not something that you're going to be doing with foreign currency. This was specifically created for American currency. So sorry if you're in Canada or Europe and you're using the polymer bills. That being said, this one is heavily discounted. If you enter the promo code CoolboxLive at checkout, you're going to get it for just over $3. It's normally 10, so there's a bigger discount here. The other thing is that this is going to cost you some money to put together because we're talking about 10s and 20s. There's some arts and crafts involved, so you are going to be committing a little more money to this one than other tricks that you would. And there is some cutting involved, so you're not going to be able to spend the money or take the gimmick apart later. You could get some of the money back in theory, but not all of it. I think that that's stuff that we should really just make apparent to everybody.
All the tricks that Rick and Justin have come up with that I feel like they have this series of tricks that they put in their wallet because there's a long line of tricks that are just that. And this is another one of the great ones. If you've never done UF Grant's slow motion build transposition, or commonly known as the 1 in 5 transposition these days, it's one of the best currency tricks that you can possibly do. And this raises the bar a little bit because it's not just you're switching a 10 and a 20 in somebody's hand. You're also switching quantities, right? Which is a very interesting thing.
I mean, I've always called them a lopsided transposition, and I'm a big fan of the lopsided transposition. I do that kind of thing with a few different card tricks, but here seeing it with bills is interesting because it is. You are right, Nick. It's you're changing the currencies are going back and forth, but it's also the quantity. Suddenly they think they have one bill, suddenly they've got two in their hands. There's something really powerful about that. And actually, in one of the performances that you watch, Rick really capitalizes on that feature of the trick where he goes, "Do you feel anything?" And the woman holding the bills in her hand, talks about how she feels the packet of bills is thicker, as in she feels the bill coming in. Now that's just a psychological subtlety that Rick is taking advantage of in the moment, but it's a powerful moment for your spectator when they think they're holding. We all know what one bill feels like when suddenly you realize you're holding two. Even before you open it and see that it is transformed, your brain is already racing ahead to no, oh my God, how did they do that? It's a wild trick.
I bring this up all the time, and I've just found these things to be so useful. But this fake cash that you can get online now is like, I wouldn't use this for this particular trick. However, it would allow you to pick up transaction for $3 and then just reach over to my desk like I got here, pull out a couple of these fake bills, cut it up, mess around, make yourself a prototype gimmick, right? Before you go ahead and cut up some other money, right?
Because of the way this trick works too, you could totally do it with these play money bills, and it should still work, and it would actually save you a lot of money doing it that way. Because
so keep going.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, like, they never hold the gimmicked bill, so there's never an opportunity for them to figure out that they're holding sort of movie money, and the prop money looks so good right now.
Well, I'm just like, on another level though, I have used that stuff for so many like projects just to prep myself. You know, stuff like Juan Pablo's Real Change, or like making a Hyundai 500, or whatever you're going to do. If you got some arts and crafts with bills, man, that stack, they come in thick stacks for cheap money. So you just have like these random bills laying around, and I've used those for everything but magic tricks. You know what I mean? So they've been very helpful. I would suggest anybody go pick some of that stuff up.
Absolutely. Let's move on to the next one. This is by Gregory Wilson. This is Ambidextrous.
Great trick. This is from Gregory Wilson's Coffeehouse Conjuring Series 2 that came out about a year or two ago. And basically, these are tricks. When I say series, there's a bunch of tricks. We got a couple more in the show tonight that you can do at Starbucks or any coffee shop. What this trick is you show an empty coffee cup, and you have somebody like over-examine it to make sure that there's nothing in it. When they're happy, you hand they have the cup, and they're
Nick, that's the one that we're going to talk about a little bit later. This is
I'm on the wrong one. Yeah,
this is the sugar packet transposition.
My bad. Forget what I just said, and we'll go to this.
No, it's totally cool. Like there's a lot of them start off with sugar.
Yes. This one, you ask your spectator to go grab 2 sugar packets from the prep bar, a white sugar and a brown sugar. And they come over, they bring them to the table, and you place them on the table. And you say you're going to make them change places. And then you do a dumb gag where you say, can you see it happen? And then you like physically change their places for the joke. But then, and you can probably see it on this video here, he does a switching places motion with his fingers, but he doesn't actually move them. He says, I didn't actually switch their places, I switched their contents. So then you open up the sugar packets and you pour it out, and inside the white packet is the brown sugar, and inside the brown packet is the white sugar. Now these borrowed by the spectator from the prep bar.
It's amazing. It's phenomenal. I love this idea. I love the idea of a transposition that happens like with a gag, and then it really comes out and knocks you out. There's a weird moment when you watch it where you watch brown sugar get poured out of a white packet, and like the white sugar coming out of the brown packet, and you're just like, that sugar is in the wrong place. And it messes with your brain in a very strange way where you're just like,
great reactions.
Yeah, it's so good.
There's at least 2 or 3 performances on there. He actually performs it for John Kennedy. The guy who made Mojo and like the Kennedy box, all that stuff, and he legitimately fooled him. Looked like. The secret is super simple, and it's
a great trick. I mean, like,
a fantastic secret, to be honest.
Like, Gregory Wilson just like knows how to make these things play big. And if you want to like learn how to take a really simple idea and make it super powerful, Gregory's the one you want to learn this from.
Yeah, you're gonna have to prep a little bit for this. It's worth it. It's totally worth it. I think any of these tricks that you're going to see that really deal with sugar and straws and all that stuff, there's always going to be some sort of prep involved. The good thing is you're at the coffee shop and you got plenty of time to figure it out. Also, all the prep work that he teaches in the Coffeehouse Conjuring series is done with things that are in the coffee house, right? Yeah. So you don't need to like bring anything with you. The prep is no big deal. You get it done in just a second. And the secret is super simple. But if you take it seriously, it's a powerful trick. Enter
the promo code CoolBoxLive at checkout to get Ambidextrous for just a couple of bucks off, $7.46 after you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive. Nick, let's move on to the next one. This is something that's very near and dear to my heart. This is our good friend Doc Doherty and the Groove Electric 2.0. I really like this move. I've been watching Doc do this move forever, and he essentially what this is a utility move for you can use it as a switch, a force, and a color change. And I mean, there's something like so wonderful about being able to use one move for all three different things, and it's really awesome. So what happens is you have a card selected, you fan the deck of cards, you have the card put back in, and then in the action of closing up the fan, you are able to switch that card. It really does look that good. You're also going to learn a method of controlling the card around the deck of cards while like showing that the deck is square. That's really clever. Doc teaches you a really slick sandwich effect using this. So this is actually the second sandwich effect we're talking about tonight. But he teaches you a bunch of stuff with this. He teaches you how to do like a face-up color change that looks really cool. But the sandwich effect is awesome because one card goes into into a packet over here, and then over here is the packet with like two face-up queens. The card goes in on your right-hand side and then appears between the queens on the left-hand side. And the Groove Electric move is what does it all. The move's a little knacky, takes some time to practice, but it's really good.
That's the thing to know about this is that we don't actually Penguin, we don't even really promote a lot of moves per se, but this is a working move. Like this is not like some move that you have to practice just only so that you can do it on your Instagram feed. This is something that if you learn it, not only do you now have access to like switches and color changes and controls, but you can use it all the time. It's not just something that you can only use in a certain scenario. No, this is a very versatile.
It's super versatile. I've been working on it for a while because it's very pleasing to do when you do it correctly. And the other thing that we should know about this is that this is the second time that Doc has published the Groove Electric move, because way back when he filmed the original version of Groove Electric with the Buck Twins, and he released it to some fanfare. A lot of people really liked it. Definitely put Doc on the map. And then when he came back to Penguin to do, I think Doc did a live lecture with us.
Yeah, it was his first lecture.
He came to his first lecture with us, and he was like, "Hey, I've been sitting on some stuff with Groove Electric for a while," and we were like, "Oh, you've released that. Should we really do that, or should we put it in the lecture?" And then he was like, "Well, let me show you what I'm working on." And he proceeded to show us like a million different things with it for a half hour, which is why this ended up coming out, because he's been refining it, improving it, making the teaching of it better from the original version, finding brand new things to do with it. It is wild. It's such a good move.
You'd really like this if you picked it up. If you have interesting card moves and you don't know this one, this is a no-brainer, especially for 25% off.
Yeah, let's move on to the next one, Nick. This is Raising Cain by Gregory Wilson.
This is what I was talking about.
If you've paid close attention to the show, you already know half of what Nick's about to talk about.
This one was a fooler. This one a lot of people were hyped about. You show somebody a coffee cup, and you have them just overly examine it. Once they're happy that it's completely empty, they hold it like just above their head a little bit. Then you go to another spectator and you say, "I have a sugar packet here. I want you to watch." Tear the sugar packet open, and you pour the sugar in your hand and you make the sugar disappear. Then you have them look in the cup that they examined, and inside the cup is all the sugar. The thing to know about this is that there is no thumb tip here at all, which I think is what drove everybody crazy when this first came out, because there's two methods at play here that are both of them are amazing, but like how that sugar ends up in the cup is really clever. This is one that when I first saw the demo for it, it bothered me for weeks. I was like, I'm gonna figure, like this is one that I like wanted to figure out on my own. Like I don't always treat Magic like a puzzle, but I definitely treated this one like a puzzle a little bit, because I was just like, how is he getting the sugar in the, because I knew that it didn't have a thumb tip, and I broke down and I watched the tutorial, and I was like, that is genius. It's so genious. Right. Yeah, because that's why, because I think if you watched it, you could just go, "Oh, it's just a thumb tip," possibly, like even though that's actually probably a worse method than what is used. Yeah, it actually probably is a worse method. That's what really fools you when you think about it as a magician.
Like using a thumb tip would ruin this.
Yeah, well, again, part of his Coffee House Conjuring series is that you're only using things that are in the coffee house. Right?
Yeah. No.
You can just do this at a Starbucks as long as when you walk in.
Yeah. Anthony Walker was over here in the Facebook chat asking, couldn't you use a thumb tip to make it better? And you couldn't. You could not use a thumb tip to make this better.
I mean, you could use it if you wanted to. It's just there's no need to.
Yeah. The method that Greg has got here to make it work is so
Yeah,
good.
because I would argue between the two sugar vanishes that I know, the one that's in here and then the thumb tip vanish, don't get me wrong, thumb tip vanish is amazing.
Yeah.
But this other vanish is arguably better.
Yeah.
And then the way you would load it, it would be, you just got to deal with a thumb tip full of sugar, right?
Yeah.
So that's,
Who wants, I mean,
figure that handling out.
I mean,
I'm sure you could do it.
I know that I'm known on the stream for like not liking to use the thumb tips because they scare me to use. But yeah, I mean, like, who wants a thumb full of sugar?
Yeah, well, you don't need one
No.
because it's a great method to get that sugar in there that it just flies right under the radar.
So. If you enter the promo code Coolbox Live at checkout, you're going to get it for a couple of bucks off. $7 for this effect, and it's really good. This is like, I'm glad that I know this one because I would do this if I was like having like a lunch meeting or like a coffee meeting with someone to talk about like a new project or something like that, and they wanted to see magic. Like Raising Cane is probably one of the ones I do just because it's so strong.
And watching Greg's performances is always so refreshing and like
it's enlightening.
Yeah, you're just like, man, look at how much he's just squeezing out of this effect, right? Watch the performances. He knocks all these people out. Especially there's a group of kids that like lose their mind, which is great. But,
Mark Tertulio asking a really nice one, a really good question here, saying lots of prep for Raising Cane, and I don't think of this as like a lot of prep. I don't think any of the coffeehouse conjurings have like a ton of prep.
I mean, you've got to do something to get ready for loading the cup, and you got to do something to get ready to load the sugar. But
arguably,
neither one. I mean, you're going to spend a minute and a half.
Yeah. Alan Morgan coming in with the YouTube comment: a thumbful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So I set us up for that one. Thank you for knocking it down, Alan. I appreciate that. Speaking of Gregory Wilson, let's talk about another thing that he is. We're not talking about that. We're talking about Loki Kross and Fax. This is a super cool trick. I really like this one. Essentially what this is a way to secretly duplicate your spectator's signature and they'll never know. Mm-hmm. It's wild. I think we can talk a little bit about the method, right?
Yeah. I mean, of course you can. I think so.
So basically this is going to teach you how to forge someone's signature. I think that's the $1 million headline right here, is that you're going to learn a method to duplicate someone's signature on the fly, just like totally under the radar, so that no one's ever going to see it, and it really does work, which is super cool.
Yeah, it's a way. So like if you're doing your favorite ambitious card routine, I mean, if you do one, imagine if you had a duplicate signed card in the deck, right? You can do miracles. I mean, you can do crazy cards to impossible locations, card through window, right? Card to card, anything. You do miracles with a duplicate signature. And this is a great method to be able to do it real time during a performance.
Yeah. The instruction is like 90 minutes long. He goes into Loki goes into so many different ways to actually accomplish this effect, but he also one of the things that you see in it is that you see him teach a camera guy how to do one of the methods, and then the camera guy repeats it almost immediately really well, so that it's super convincing. You're learning not only how to forge someone's signature in a couple different ways, but you're learning what you can do with that and how to sell it after you've actually done that. So this is, normally it's $15. If you enter the promo code Coolbox Live at checkout, you're going to get it for $11. And you're going to learn a really cool secret here. There's a very good friend of mine who does magic out in California. I'm not going to say where, but he uses methods like this a lot, and he devastates people with it. It's so good.
This is I think this was originally $40 too.
Yeah,
when it came out originally.
It's a great secret.
Yeah. If you're, what this really is it's just it's like a great way to get into this type of thing.
Yeah.
Because you can read about like this type of thing in card college and such. But I almost want to say this is a little bit more entry level, just because you're seeing somebody work it, so that you can see it, what it looks like in performance.
I think that's the thing, is that like seeing somebody do a signature forgery in real time gives you the confidence to be able to do it. Because I've read about this method and the methods that were used in books before, and it just like didn't seem workable.
Yeah, you need to see somebody like do it quickly, and like how long does it take them, and what are they saying when they do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And the chat here is coming in and being the Facebook chat and the YouTube chat have actually diverged here, because the Facebook chat is going, just use this for magic, guys, not for anything else. The YouTube chat, on the other hand, is just imagining all of the things they could do with forged signatures. So we see you, and we're happy to see the two different communities. Jared Howell asking, is this limited to cards, or could you use it on bills and other things too? Great question, Jared. You could do this on bills. It is taught in the context of card tricks here, because that is largely what Loki is using this for, is for various types of card tricks. But you could use this. All the techniques that Loki talks about on bills, napkins, billets, pieces of paper, wherever you were going to put a signature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this was filmed back when the ambitious card was the king routine. Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
I feel ambitious card has fallen a little bit, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I think it's coming back. I think there's a couple of people
I love
out there.
I'll do it to anybody, but
there's some people out there with some good work on it. And sure. Mighty is over on YouTube making a very good point here, looking at the clip between us and saying, "Isn't that Francis Minotti demonstrating?" It is Francis Minotti demonstrating. Francis comes in and teaches a couple of additional handlings and tips and tricks, because he also uses this technique, which is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. That explains a lot now, doesn't it, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great secret. I mean, it's one of those, if you picked it up and you learned it and it really resonated with you, you can, this isn't a trick. This is, you can do anything you want from here on out, right?
Yeah.
Literally anything. So,
but
I can't tell you how good sign card to beer bottle is and all that stuff. I mean, those tricks are amazing. So
really good. Moving on, though, we got Gregory Wilson back in here. Gregory Wilson's fake pocket coming in right now.
Look, we had Gregory on the show last week where he was doing some of his pickpocketing routines. I love pickpocketing routines, but I've always been like nervous to even go about it. Like I've messed with it a little bit, but this routine's amazing because you don't have to do any pickpocketing techniques at all. This routine allows you to steal anything out of your spectator's wallet that you can get your hands on and make it feel like you're actually picking their pockets when you're not at all. It's just a very clever routine and use of misdirection, all structured by Gregory Wilson, who puts together amazing stuff, so that you don't even have to, they're basically going to hand you their wallet. And then from there, you just hand it back to them. And you're going to be doing a series of things where it feels like all of the stuff has come out of their pockets, but it hasn't. And the reason why I'm kind of vague on it is because it can go in multiple directions based on what your spectators have in their pockets.
Fraser Harvey coming in asking what the discount code is, and the discount code is CoolBoxLive. It's all one word, CoolBoxLive. Any of the tricks that we're talking about in the show tonight, if you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive at checkout, you will get 25% off all of the tricks we are talking about tonight. And as a matter of fact, I should throw the schedule up over here because we've talked about quite a few things. It looks like we have a lot of new people in the chat here. We talked about Diamond Jim Tyler Live. We're going to talk a little bit more. Just the Way I Like It by Alvo Stockman. Then we moved into the discounts, and we are closing in towards the end of the discounts, but we did cover the 10-card poker deal by Luke Jermay, Binary Code by Rick Lax, Stapled by Luke Jermay, the Tarbell 20 lesson, How to Please Your Audiences, Transaction by Justin Flom with Rick Lax, Ambidextrous by Gregory Wilson and David Grippenwald, Groove Electric 2.0 by Doherty, Raising Cain by Gregory Wilson, Facts by Loki Kross, and Fake Pocket, which is what we are talking about right now. It's a solid trick. I mean, the thing is, Greg knows how to do the pickpockets and stuff. Yeah. So if there's anyone that you would want to learn it from, I feel like it would be Greg. But
yeah, and he talks about that other stuff. So even if you do have pickpocketing skills, like let's say you can steal a watch.
Yeah.
You know, like you can do all of this other fake pocket stuff and then steal the watch later. It's just a great, it's a great backbone routine for a larger pickpocketing routine. And it's a great routine on its own. Just because you could just do it with nothing. You could walk up to somebody and do this routine, because I'm assuming that somebody you're talking to has a wallet or something on them, right? So it's essentially totally impromptu as well. You can do a full pickpocketing set with them. Watch the demo on this one. Yeah. You'll love it, because Greg is just, you basically want to be Gregory Wilson when you watch him steal stuff, because it's just like, man, it's just so cool.
The YouTube chat making a really good point tonight. We've talked about pickpocketing and signature forging. We are attempting to turn the audience into a bunch of con artists, is what it seems like we're doing
Poker
tonight.
Deals.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else is there? Yeah.
All right, Nick, let's move on. I believe this is one of the last downloads we're going to be talking about this week. This is, actually second to last one, but this is great. This is Toy Box by Jonathan Kamm. This is super cool. So speaking of using forged signatures for an ambitious card routine, what we're talking about here is card to impossible location. Great way to end in a ambitious card routine. This uses the small Altoids mince box. This is gimmick free, I think, is something that we should talk about here. Is I think he talks about a couple of things that you could do for gimmicks, but largely what he's talking about here is a gimmick free way of getting a signed folded playing card inside of a small mint tin. Jonathan goes into the type of mint box you want to use. It's a very common style of mint box. Even when this was put out and now, these mint boxes are all around. And there's a lot of different stuff here. There's a way to switch it in for a card that's already in there. There's a way to load a card into an empty mint box. There's a wide variety of stuff, because this isn't just a trick or revelation. This is a system of using this mint tin for a card revelation that Jonathan has really put a ton of work into. It's super well thought out, very, very thorough. There's something in here for every level of card worker.
This is a massive, the value on this is through the roof. Because you're going to learn we were talking about ambitious card. It's kind of in that same world where the card is coming in and out of this mint box. Signed card gets folded and shows up in the mint box, back and forth. I mean, he's giving you different phases so you can kind of pick and choose what goes where, so there's a ton of value in this. And it is, if there is any definitive work on the folded card to mint box, ungimmicked, this is it. There's, Jonathan Kamm figured it out. And the routines that you're getting here, he works restaurants. This is what this guy does for a living. And this is his routine that he does at the tables. So you're really getting a quality product out of this. I should mention, this did come from the Penguin Partner Program.
Yeah.
And I do believe this is the best-selling Penguin Partner Program trick of all time. I believe this is number one on that list.
Which, if you're unfamiliar with the Penguin Partner Program, if you're on the Penguin Magic website and you've got it and you're looking at all these tricks and thinking to yourself, hey, I want to get a trick out there and I want to publish it with Penguin, there's a couple different ways to do that. The Partner Program is one of them. All you got to do is, if you go scroll down the page a little bit, there's a little orange box on the right-hand side that says Hatch a Trick, join our Partner Program. And there are forms that you can fill out and send us videos and all kinds of different information on exactly how to submit a trick, and then we can talk through either you self-producing it and us hosting it and putting it out there, or coming to Penguin and filming it to put it out yourself. There's all kinds of different options with putting a trick out through Penguin. One other thing that I'll talk about, Nick, I think you might have a copy of the magazine on your shelf behind you. The magazine is a great way to get published. If you don't know about this already, Penguin Magic has a magazine that is published every month. You can subscribe to it, but if you spend $50 or more on your order, you get it for free. Every month, it's full of great tricks and essays and all kinds of stuff, and it is a wonderful place for you, the viewer, to get published. All you got to do is there's information about it on our website, but if you email Josh at penguinmagic.com, you can submit stuff to the magazine to be published. I edit it along with a few other people so that we can help get your ideas out there. The very first place that I was ever published in Magic was the Penguin Magic magazine. It was like 6 years ago, I think, that I got published in the Penguin Magic magazine. But there's in this particular issue, there's a really great article by Eric Casey on what it takes to put a trick together. There's gags, there's jokes, there's top 10 lists, there's lots and lots of tricks. Penguin Magic Monthly it's a really great value.
Hold up here,
what
Eric.
it is.
My Top 10 Magicians by Russ Ned's Wiki.
Oh man, that's the Pinnacle guy, right?
I don't see your name on here.
What? Russ swore up and down that I was one of his top 10 magicians.
No, actually, is I don't know, June Horowitz.
Oh, June Horowitz was amazing. So good. Right. She was president of the IBM for a while, and
she died at 104.
Yeah.
Whew. Wow.
Magic keeping you young. And
sorry, sidetracked.
No, and Thomas Conger bringing up a really good point right now. The magician on the cover of that issue, Jeremiah Zuo, one of the nominees for Penguin Magic Lecture of the Year, was just on Penn and Teller's most recent episode.
Oh, that's right. I have to watch that.
Yeah, I got to check it out too. I haven't seen it yet but I love Jeremiah's stuff. John Costiel saying that he plans his $50 purchases just so he can get his copy of Penguin Magic Monthly magazine. And
that's a good
strategy. I didn't even mention the best part. Every issue comes with a free gimmick.
Yeah, it does. I don't know what I did with my, my Baby Shark CD. Yeah, it was on the floor for a while, and I don't know where it went.
But getting back to Toy Box, I think it's something that everyone should check out. If you do Ambitious Card or you do Card to Impossible Location, Toy Box is going to be in your arsenal.
This blew me away when I first downloaded it.
I
was so impressed with the level of detail and just how much information was in there. Because it is you are buying Jonathan Kamm's
life's work. It's so good.
There's a lot on that product.
Let's totally shift gears and move to the last thing in the downloads this week, which is Tarbell 57 Slate Mysteries Part 2.
Part 2. Yes, again, this is another chance to expand your Tarbell collection if you haven't. Slate Mysteries Part 2. We split up a lot of the lessons just because of the sheer amount of the information that was in both. So this is one of those double part lessons. And there's some great magic in here. So slate tricks back in the day literally used physical chalkboards, like slates that they used to use in classrooms. Bob Cassidy has a great download called Slate Killers, where he goes through a lot of the traditional uses with this. But there was a lot of, non-seance style slate magic that came out of seance style slate magic, which is just crazy to think about now that there was a whole genre of slate magic, right? But the truth is that they really lend themselves to a lot of really interesting reveals, especially for mentalism, because mentalism's hard to make things visual on stage, right? So what Dan did for this lesson is none of the tricks actually use slates, okay? All of them use something else. And there's how many routines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 or 8 routines on this download. And there's a couple in here that, okay, well, first of all, a classic among classics is in this download that probably a lot of people didn't know or was even in Tarbell. And it's called a spooky message. Eric, do you know what that trick is?
Oh, a spooky message. Isn't it a Tommy Wonder thing?
No.
I'm thinking of bad art.
So you can find David McCreary does this trick.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yes. I know what a spooky message is now. Yeah, because he does it in his live lecture. And he's got like the third hand and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, so what this trick is, and this is just a fantastic trick, is basically you would write on back in the day it'd be on a slate, but in this case you're going to be writing on a chalkboard. You have somebody pick a card, and then you say, all right, I'm going to make a prediction. Actually, you probably write it ahead of time before you even have them pick a card. But you write a prediction, they pick a card, then you show them the prediction. The prediction says you will choose the 10 of hearts, and they're like, no, that's not my card. And you say, oh, really? And then you take your eraser and you erase the board, but it only erases some of the letters. The letters that remain say, I don't know, Ace of Hearts or something like that to show the person that their card, whatever card they picked. It's an absolute classic. And Dan teaches a version of that on here. Yeah. You'll also find there is, the Jack Miller slate routine that's on here. This was a routine that I was working on because when I was talking with Fool Us back in the day, trying to find a routine that they wanted me to do on that show, this was one of the routines that I actually submitted. Because it has this
cool, like this is hard to even explain what the effect is here, but there's like an add a number type of thing with like misnumbering slates and a prediction and a target. You'll have to watch the performance of it in the demo, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But that's a real fooler. Other than that, there's some other things here. The white chalk of many colors would be a great MC bit. Chinese comedy slate mystery, crazy title, but the Dan has an incredible like it's going to fool you bad because I can't tell you what it is, but there's a way he's manipulating these dry erase boards in a way that is just going to basically spectator has a board on their lap and it has nothing written on it. And then they put it on their lap. And then when they pick it up again, it's going to have their initials on it.
That's bananas.
Crazy,
That's
right?
So good.
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff. And if you do mentalism, this is a great lesson to pick up for cheap money.
I love how much Dan has worked with dry erase boards in this and updating a lot of this slate stuff for dry erase boards, because I use dry erase boards in my act, and this was a go-to for me in learning how to like do a lot more with dry erase boards and like really expand their use in my act, because it does help you just play so much bigger.
Yeah, the dry eraser boards are essentially the modern slate. But he also goes as far as using postcards in this lesson, paper plates, and foam core, which is great. But what else? What is the other thing that he uses?
He uses picture frames in this one too.
Picture frames.
There's
well,
I believe there's a variation on a Tommy Wonder trick in this, but
yeah, that might have been in Mysteries Part 1. Don't know, but and post-it notes are cool too. Anyway, slate tricks are great. If you want more traditional stuff, maybe check out Bob Cassidy's Slate Killers. But if you like mentalism, platform effects, it'd be good to add a slate trick to your repertoire.
It's super good, and I think everyone should definitely check it out. That is going to do it for the downloads we're talking about tonight. We started off the show with the massive magical savings, talking about Diamond Jim Tyler live, and then, of course, the mentalism in a coffee shop, Just the Way I Like It by Alvo Stockman. Then we moved on to the download discounts. The 10-card poker deal by Luke Jermay. Win a game of poker against your audience with just 10 cards. Binary Code by Rick Lax. So good it went on Fool Us. So good that when it was on Fool Us, it fooled the guys. Staple by Luke Jermay is a really amazing way to do a sandwich effect on the outside of your card box. Tarbell 20, How to Please Your Audience, an excellent way to start ingesting Magic Theory into your life. Transaction by Justin Flom with Rick Lax is a lopsided transposition of two $10 bills and a $20 bill. Your audience is going to go nuts over. Ambidextrous by Gregory Wilson is another transposition effect, but this time you're transposing the sugar inside of sugar packets. Groove Electric 2.0 is an incredibly satisfying piece of sleight of hand that can be used for switches, color changes, and forces. You're going to love it. Raising Cane by Gregory Wilson. It's a trick that without a thumb tip, that making sugar appear inside an examined empty cup. It's bananas. Facts by Loki Kross. Start forging your audience's signatures today. Fake Pocket by Gregory Wilson will make you look like an expert pickpocket and also a hilarious comedian. Toy Box, the card to box system by Jonathan Kamm, is quite simply one of the magnum opus of card to mint tins. And then Tarbell 57, Slate Mysteries. Don't have a chalkboard? Not a problem when it comes to this, because you are going to learn how to use so many things as slates with Dan Harlan. Nick, let's move on to, this is something I know a lot of people like. This is the deals of the week. We're actually going to be talking about two different physical products this week.
Are we skipping the lectures? Let's do the lectures.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I hit the wrong button. I apologize. Let's talk about the low price lectures. That's right. I almost forgot. We talked about so many things. Let's get into the Diamond Jim Tyler. I know that both you and I really liked this particular one. This is a fantastic lecture. Diamond Jim is so good.
Look, the Penguin Live lectures are incredible because everybody brings. We work with the best artists in the world, and they come and they bring all their best material and teach it to you. So the best value that you could possibly spend your money on is in Penguin Live. I strongly believe that. Diamond Jim, when he showed up, just like brought a Santa sack full of magic tricks, man. Like, cause there was just he's just machine gun magic up there, and everything he was doing. If you're not familiar with Diamond Jim, he's a great magician from Texas. He's a worker, does parties, corporate, everything, you name it. He's out there working, and he is just always doing strong magic. He also wrote. Go for it.
His routines are really, really well worked out. Like,
yeah.
Even though it seems like it's kind of like casual and off the cuff, there's still like every moment is planned and every moment is designed for maximum impact. And so getting those moments from Diamond Jim is like, I mean, it's just, it's like getting nuggets of gold from an amazing performer.
It was hard to pick favorite tricks out of this because there's so many. There's probably 700 tricks in this lecture, it feels like. But you're right. Every trick has like a joke in it. And every trick's got a strong moment and like some sort of like conversational element to it. It's really fun. He also wrote, might be no surprise if you've not ever seen the Bamboozler's books. Those are Diamond Jim's books. So he's really bar bets and quick tricks and strong stuff. Anyway,
let's talk about some of the tricks in here. One of my favorite ones is the happy birthday trick with the dollar bill in this.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
He borrows $1 from someone and he tells them he's going to turn it into a $100 bill for their birthday, and he folds it up and then he goes for a magic wand, and the only magic wand he has is a hole punch. So he waves it over the bill and he puts the hole punch away, and then when he unfolds it to reveal the $100 bill, it's not a $100 bill, it's a $1 bill. But punched out is the words "Happy Birthday." You can see it on the video between us. It comes up in the rotation, but it's punched out "Happy Birthday" in the $1 bill, and all of the confetti that was made from the hole punches falls out. It's really good. Another thing that I really like in it is the torn and restored napkin that he does in this. It's so good.
Yeah.
He takes a napkin and he tears it into pieces and he balls it up and he puts it on the end of a skewer and then he lights it on fire. Big burst of flames, and then it is restored. And there are probably a few people going, "Oh, I think I know what he did. He snuck this thing in. That's flash paper." He teaches you a way to ball up the napkin that is being restored in such a way so that when you open it, there's no fumbling around to make sure that you've got the ends. It comes open nice, neatly, and cleanly. Like, this is what I'm talking about when it's the details. Like, the way he uncrumples that napkin after it's restored is magic in and of itself.
Mm-hmm. There's so much good stuff. I had to go back and like refresh myself to find the things that I did out of this lecture. And one of the things that I wanted to learn, I'd wanted to learn it for a long time, was the Dr. Sachs dice routine. And he teaches it on here. And it's one of the only places that I've seen it taught well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's a routine that I always wanted to learn, and I was able to do it after Diamond Jim here. The other thing that I really loved, and I'm trying to think of what the I had a note here. Mm-hmm. What was it? Let me find it real quick.
Yeah, I'll say there's a bunch of stuff that goes on with this. He talks about the muscle pass on this, and he teaches a coin routine that is he's
I remember
doing some fun coin stuff, but he teaches you how to like throw a coin through the back of a mug, and then it visually comes out of the mug, and it's really, really cool.
He has another routine that I think he might have won like a competition with or something.
Yeah,
I can't remember. It's like a special like showpiece for him. But you know that trick with the mirrors on the backs of the cards?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he does like a wild card routine with it, where the mirrors end up like broken at the end as well.
Yeah.
Really great. And I remember always wanting to be able to do it. He's got a nice touch there too about how to perform like Matrix style stuff in front of a crowd.
Yeah.
Cool. There's too much to talk about, honestly.
The only other thing that I want to sort of emphasize on here is that his opener with a straw is really interesting because he took some inspiration from you remember the old thing where it was like a test tube with a cork on the top and there was like a silver bar that like moved up and down and like levitated and everyone was. He talks about like he was like, this is a great trick. You're animating the silver bar. No one can tell how it works. It's really, really clever, and you're watching him like mess around with this straw, and the straw is animating and levitating around, and he's doing stuff with it, and it's crazy because he took a trick that like had a lot of unanswered questions, and he sort of like put it in a real world context. It's really neat. Mm-hmm. It's very, very good.
I can't say enough about Diamond Jim. He's been a good friend over the years. He blew us away when he came to Penguin and did his lecture because we were just impressed anybody knew that many magic tricks, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think if you had to sit down and watch like Diamond Jim and Magic Ballet, like trade trick for trick. Actually, that'd be a good way to get rid of 2021 and just get to 2022, right? Just watch those two do tricks for the entire time.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really, really, really good. And actually, the chat is like saying a lot of things here. I was just trying to like catch up on the chat a little bit. And John Costell's saying, the lecture is one that you'll rewatch many, many times. Great stuff. Jokes, puns are entertaining too. Just by it. Yeah, John's right. Actually, the stories are really interesting too. This was back when Dan would sit down with the lecturer after the lecture and start asking him and interviewing a bunch of stuff instead of before. And Diamond Jim like tells 2 or 3 different stories about how he got his name, and like like you can never quite tell when he's like putting you on, because Diamond Jim loves pranks, and so he's just like he'll like launch into this big long Texas story all just to make you look like an idiot, and it's so good.
Yeah, bar bets. This is one of those, you get it, you're going to get something out of it. It's not possible not to. The invisible dice trick's great too.
Yeah.
Where you roll the dice and you tell people what they rolled.
There's so much stuff that we can talk about. Let's move on to Dan Garrett Live. This is one, I'm glad it's in here. I had no idea that Dan came to lecture at Penguin, because Dan's always one of those guys I see at a convention. I don't think I've ever been to a convention and not seen Dan Garrett.
Yeah, he's at all of them, right? Dan's a great magician, and he does the classics, and you're gonna learn. So Dan's more in like the classic tricks, funny stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So he's got a little bit more comedy edge to it, and he's put together a great list of things that he does all the time. So you're gonna get some fun MC stuff. I was trying to I turned my head around. He has this great card in your forehead gag.
Yeah.
I have used before, which is really good. But he's got some other MC gags in there, because that's kind of like, if you can imagine an MC of a magic convention, you got Dan Garrett, right? Mm-hmm. His book test is great. Now I'm a big fan of the color changing knives, and he's going to go into his full color changing knife routine. This is something that he would do at like the Magic Castle in the close-up room, right? So it's a really amazing knife routine with a strong ending. And then he gets into like, I guess I can say this about the lectures. If you like the paddle move, this is a fantastic lecture to pick up.
Yeah, he's got some good work on the knives, on the color changing knives, which I know you've started playing with some color changing knives, and it's definitely something that's piqued my interest lately, because I have the old Ascanio book, Knives and Color Blindness, that I'm thinking about cracking open and messing with those routines. And Dan's got some good stuff in there.
I've been studying the knives. It's like one of my first tricks, because Bill Malone did it on his original L&L videos.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so Bill sold me on the knives, and then I went on to, I could talk about color changing knives all night, but Dan, there's some finishes to the color changing knives that I've read about but never seen. Mm-hmm. Dan does them here, right? So I thought that was really cool. But he goes beyond. He's got these like other paddles that he uses. They're almost like drink stirs. That's probably what they are. But they're small paddles that you can put people's names on. Yeah. And so he kind of goes into a whole paddle routine, paddle move section of this lecture. So if you're into the paddle move, like I am, this is a great lecture. I was going to say, shout out to Eric Stevens and his new thing, right?
Oh yeah, Color Sticks. That's the product that he's got out right now.
I've seen that gimmick. It's beautiful. So again, if you're into paddle move stuff, check that out. He's also got what else is in here? Some card routines. That's really cool. Like there's an acrobatic card routine that's really good. I believe he had a Star Trek presentation for it. I think
it might be Star Wars, because he makes a Yoda appear, an adult Yoda.
Yeah, he does that at the beginning, but I think the card trick is also Star Trek themed, where the cards are beaming up and down. I could be mistaken there. But all in all, fantastic lecture, strong trick. So if you're looking for good MC stuff, also paddle move stuff, this is one to check out for, at discount here for 25% off.
Let's move on to the final category here, the one that I know everyone always waits for because it's physical products. This is the deals of the week, and this week we have a little bit of a theme going on here with some stuff that is involving your shoes. We're going to start off by talking about the self-tying shoelace by Jay Nobuzada. Anyone who has watched this show at all knows that I am unabashedly a big Jay Nobuzada fan, and this is a really good one. I mean, this is Jay came up with this and was putting this out there, and Blaine ended up doing it on a special. But essentially, what it is you have your shoelaces are untied. You walk on a stage or you walk up to some people, your shoelaces are untied. You give your shoes a bit of a shake, and your shoelace ties itself visibly in front of them, and then there's nothing to find. They could take your shoes off if they wanted to, and there's nothing to find. You get a really clever gimmick that's a lot of fun to use. Jay teaches the whole thing. All the way through. It's really good. I mean, if Blaine wanted to do this in his special, why aren't you doing it? I mean, I think it's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think maybe because a lot of people might know how this works. Mm-hmm. You haven't done it, have you tried this for anybody? Because this trick's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I had this trick back when it first came out, like 15, 20 years ago. I mean, this is really good. I was doing it back then. Mm-hmm. Maybe not my first order from Penguin, but definitely like within the first 10, because I remember when this came out, it was huge and it's awesome.
It's a real method, right? I mean, the reset on it, kind of stinks.
Yeah.
But that doesn't matter because once your shoe is tied and you can move on to the next thing. But for video, fantastic.
Great Instagram trick. Great TikTok trick.
But I mean, man, the power level of it, if you show this to somebody in real life, especially because, we talk about this a lot on like instructional videos and things.
Oh, yeah.
Being able to create those situations where you're just like at a coffee shop and you have your shoe untied and then somebody says, oh, hey, Erica, your shoe's untied. And you're like, oh, what, really? Right? Like, think about what you just set them up for. They have no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah.
And being that far ahead of people is just the way to do this trick.
I mean, the fact that you can end up with like examinable tied shoelaces is just bonkers. It's really messed up.
Yeah. So you'll love the gimmick. It's not like a big deal to have on you.
No.
But
yeah, it's easy to do. It's a lot of fun. It's a nice offbeat trick. I mean, it's definitely something that I'm looking for more of in my magic. Speaking of things that I'm looking for more of in my magic, let's go on to one of the big deals of the week. This is Electric Touch Plus by Yigal Masika. This is really exciting for us to talk about. So normally this is $249. Normally it's $250, but if you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive at checkout, you can get 25% off Electric Touch Plus.
Yeah, what's that bring this down to?
$187. I'm going to jump back real quick to the previous thing. Dan Scott asking any type of laces within reason. You can change the laces out to a couple of other things, but like you couldn't do this with penny loafers with just the little tiny leather ones.
Yeah, I mean, you just need to have access to matching laces.
Yeah,
that's all. Because you're going to need a third set. Yeah. A third pair of laces, or you only need 3 laces.
Yeah. You can do this you can do it with 3 laces, and it can be any color. You want to do it with sneakers. I would not do self-tying shoelaces with like dress shoes. It's more of like a sneakers type thing.
And honestly, like if you're gonna do it, you probably want to change the color of your laces anyway, so you have some contrast.
Yeah.
Because like if you got black laces on black shoes, it's just gonna be hard for the people to see the effect.
Yeah. And you want bigger laces for the visual of them being untied, because with smaller laces, it's just like, oh, okay, your laces are not tied. This doesn't seem like it's going to be a major issue. Whereas like,
and these types of tricks like have this weird. It's not an issue. It's just it take like, so you do it. You shake your foot and the laces tie. You then need to like freeze, because your spectator has to like look and understand. What am I looking at? Oh my God, are his laces tied? Wait a minute, they weren't just tied a second ago. It takes like a solid 5 seconds for your spectator's brain to go, holy crap, they just tied. And if you have any problems there, like where your laces are white on white, it's going to make it harder for them to even like process what they just saw.
Dan's asking if you could do it with work boots. I think you could do it with work boots. Yeah, as long as, I mean, you can't, again, it's just all about people being able to see. Right? Yeah. So if you can see your laces while you have jeans on, right, then you can do the trick. But if like you got high boots where where it's laced up really up top, and you got to
roll your jeans up.
Yeah, like knee-high motorcycle boots are not going to work out for this, but yeah. Let's get back to the topic at hand though, which is Electric Touch Plus. This is a lot of fun to talk about because what this is it turns your body into a Van de Graaff generator. If you don't know what that is, it's that thing where you went to a science museum and they made you put your hand on it, and then you could like shock people or like bend water or like light up tubes. This is insane. You can use it to cause a static shock on people. You can use it to bend water coming out of a faucet. There's going to be a clip that plays between us shortly where you can like run your hand over like a pile of like tiny pieces of paper or tobacco, and it like goes all crazy and you can like attract it. You can cause a fluorescent light bulb to fluoresce. This is wild.
This gives you real superhuman power,
yeah.
right? Like it's what this does. It's not even like, I mean, yes, there's a gimmick involved.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we want to talk about it, but it's not in play. I mean, this benefits from the same thing that like Invisible Thread does, because Invisible Thread, your hands are completely empty, right? So you're able to move things and animate things with your hands with nothing in them, right? There's no explanation for this for your audience. So
it's under your control.
Gives you real power.
Yeah. So like I think when you look at something like this and people are like, oh, I can shock my audience, wouldn't they just be like, well, didn't you just like, run your socks on like a wool, like on a carpet or something like that? Did you just wear wool socks on a carpet? You have control over this, which is really interesting, and you can use it for some interesting effects. One of my favorite routines on the instructional material is Yakomasika draws a dog on a quarter, and then he goes, this is a dog, and I'm going to hypnotize you into making you think it's real. Go ahead and try and touch the dog's nose. And he shocks them, and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, did he bite you? And that's like, there's something really interesting about that, because now they're not even thinking of an electric shock. They're just thinking, did this picture of a dog bite me? Well,
and there's some dual reality there as well. Because the people around her don't know that she was shocked.
Yeah.
Right. And if you tell them what just happened, then they're more apt to believe that. But also just think about this with a strong character though. Don't think about it as a magic trick. Imagine Darren Brown using this, right?
Yeah.
Because then it definitely becomes something different than just you got some static on your feet, right?
This is really neat. It's a very interesting gimmick. It is durable. You will need to spend some time to install it correctly. This is not something that you are just gonna throw on and you're gonna be good. Like you need to have it installed. But it's got full instructions on how to install it. That being said, this is the plus version, which is. It is more compact, more durable, and more reliable than the original version. Because the original version, like you were basically wearing like a Ghostbusters pack around. It was nuts.
Yeah. So I bought the original version, and I remember because it was I bought it off Illusionist when they had that. Blaine had just done a Street Magic special, and they had a whole page up of all the different tricks that he did in the special. I don't think he did this, but I just bought everything that was on that page.
Yeah.
Because I was obsessed. Anyway. And I bought this originally, and I brought it to a few parties, and it was just crazy to have on my person, knowing that I was like locked and ready to do this thing whenever I wanted to. But the point I want to make is that this is almost like compare it to the iPhone, right? Yigal has been manufacturing and developing this thing for over a decade at this point, right? He's never stopped using it. He's never stopped making it better. So the one that you might have been familiar with in 1999 or whatever the hell it was, like 2002 or whatever it was, has been completely like just refurbished and like this is the way that it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's not like he came back to it and just repackaged stuff. No, this is like he's engineered this thing over a decade, so it has gotten to a very good spot.
There's a couple of questions in the chat. Thomas Conger asking, you could use this for that phenomenon where people shock each other to your benefit. You totally could. And as a matter of fact, he does it in the trailer where you get one person to shock another person, and it doesn't seem to be related to you at all. The question, though, is would this pop a balloon? I don't know the answer to that. I think you might have to play with it.
Well, so this might segue into it, but next week we're probably going to be making some changes to this show.
Yeah.
And part of that is that, well, it doesn't matter. What's an interesting thing to say is that you can get Electric Touch right now for 25% off, but it's also going to be 25% off, not next week, but the week after.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be talking about this same trick again in 2 weeks. And maybe that's something that we can answer with the balloon.
Yeah, I think that we will have like a little bit more going on there. We're coming close to the end of the show, and I think the one question that has come up actually from Thomas, or what was it? No, it was John Green over in the YouTube chat saying, "Is the big special sale next week?" It is. Can we give you some spoilers to bleed your wallet? We're not going to give you any spoilers, but we can say.
Oh, I can give you some. Well, kind of. Yeah. What can we say?
Big stuff. I guess, Nick, go ahead. Say what
so this show, there's going to be some format changes to it. It's still going to be 25% off of everything, but hopefully we're going to be able to give you some more information. Like we're kind of stuck in this room, right? I've been in this prison now for I don't know how long. Like for example, this Electric Touch Plus, we're going to take it out of the box and give it a little test drive.
Yeah.
Right. So we're going to put a heavy amount of time on that, and we're going to give you like more refined picks, like some of our favorite stuff, instead of just going through a big list. But I will say that you should also stay tuned to the Facebook story and the Instagram story that Penguin Magic runs on Facebook and Instagram, because we're going to start to put like book deals and things in there. So for example, there are 3 books that are going to be on sale next week for 25% off. We're not going to explicitly talk about them in the show. Maybe we'll mention them, Eric. I guess it wouldn't hurt to mention them.
I feel like we should mention them.
We're not going to talk about them.
Especially as they come up on Instagram, because some of the people who are watching this right now may not have caught it on the Instagram.
Sure.
Pay attention to the Instagram stories and the Facebook stories. That's where a lot of these are going to show up. You're going to want to check them out. There are going to be some huge discounts on some big books.
Yeah, one of them was nominated for Book of the Year.
Yep.
And then like two of the other ones they're just fantastic books.
They're fantastic, and they're physically large. So I mean, they're big ideas, big books. I think that's what we should say.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we might be doing something. It probably won't happen next week, but we might be trying something new with the lectures as well.
Yeah.
But still going to be the same great show with all the same deals, just more information for you guys, and hopefully like just more information, right? Like, here, let's open this box up. Let's show you what it is, So, yeah.
What I can tell you about next week, and I'm looking at the list right here next to us, is there are only 2 downloads on the show next week. This week was very heavy. Next week, almost everything that we're going to be talking about is a physical product. So we're going to be like really looking at stuff, really getting our hands on. We're going to be able to offer some massive deals for anyone who's watching this show. So be sure to share this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channels, both the Facebook and the YouTube. We're also going to try, and I don't know if many of you noticed, but like tonight's show came up as an event and reminded you a little bit beforehand. We're going to try and do that so that nobody misses it, because we want to make these deals available to every one of our customers. We're very excited about that. So we're going to do everything we can to get more stuff to you. Mighty over in the YouTube chat already throwing emojis for physical product hype.
Mm-hmm. Well, next week is king for sure. There's a lot of good stuff, but it's gonna snowball as well.
Yeah.
I think you guys are really gonna like what's going to happen here. I'm gonna like it as well, because I just think the audience is going to expand a little bit and be able to give people just more information on great magic.
Let's take one more quick look at everything that we talked about tonight. We started with Diamond Jim Taylor Live. And one thing I do want to say is that, yes, Diamond Jim sold out of the Cool Box tonight, but that doesn't mean you can't get it on discount. If you enter the promo code CoolBoxLive at checkout, you're going to get Diamond Jim Tyler 25% off for the entire week. Then we went into Just the Way I Like It by Alvo Stockman, which was a really, really wonderful way to do some mentalism at a coffee shop. Then we moved on to the download discounts. We started with a 10-card poker deal by Luke Jermay, which has also got some cool ideas from Matt Johnson. Binary Code by Rick Lax. Fooled Penn and Teller on the CW network. Stapled by Luke Jermay. Might be one of my favorite new ways to do a sandwich effect, where it happens outside of the card box and attached to the card box using a stapler. Really, really cool. Tarbell 20, How to Please Your Audiences. An excellent talk between Dan Harlan and Michael Amar on the deep theory of performing magic. Transaction by Justin Flom with Rick Lax is a brilliantly visual transposition of 2 different bills, 3 different bills, really, really when you get down to it. Ambidextrous by Gregory Wilson and David Grippenwald. Another wonderful transposition, but this time you're transposing different sugar packets, and the sugar transposes inside of the sugar packets. Groove Electric 2.0 by Doc Doherty. A wonderful piece of sleight of hand with an ordinary deck of cards that you can use for color changes, switches, forces. The sky is the limit with this offbeat but wonderfully fun technique. Facts by Loki Kross is an amazing way for you to learn how to forge your spectator signature on a card or a bill wherever you want. Raising Cane by Gregory Wilson and David Grippenwald. Make sugar vanish from a packet and then reappear inside of an empty, examined coffee cup. Fake Pocket by Gregory Wilson. Become the world's greatest pickpocket without ever having to steal anything out of somebody's pants or pockets. Toy Box by Card to Box. The Toy Box Card to Box system by Jonathan Kamm is quite simply one of the best ways to do card to impossible location with a mint tin. Jonathan gives you all of his secrets. And Tarbell 57, The Slate Mysteries Part 2, a wonderful way to add slates to your repertoire. Then we went on to the low price lectures, Diamond Jim Tyler Live. It's machine gun magic. There's so many great routines in that, from restoring a napkin with fire to invisible dice mentalism to 4 ace productions and even a levitating animated straw. Dan Garrett, a plethora of classic effects, great for close-up and also MCs. Then we went on the Cool Box Deals of the Week, which this week involves a lot of shoes. The Self-Tying Shoelace by Jay Noblezada. Visually make your shoelaces tie themselves. And then Electric Touch Plus by Yigal Masika. Possibly one of the most shocking effects we've ever produced on this particular show. Nick, we do this every week. What are you going to buy?
I'm almost embarrassed that I don't do Fake Pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, you don't need anything. This is just one of those pure knowledge things you just keep in your brain, and you can do it anytime because you're using somebody else's wallet, right? Mm-hmm. Going back and watching that, because like Greg is even performing it to me in the tutorial. Man, to me, that is an invaluable thing to know how to do.
Part of me says for me this week that it's stapled by Luke Jermay, but I got to be honest with you. I'm going to go with something that Fraser Harvey on Facebook is asking about. He's asking about the sugar in the Owens empty cup, and that's Raising Cane. I feel like that's the one I'm going to buy because that's just
a really cool trick.
Yeah, there's some thinking there that I'm going, ooh, how can I apply this level of ingenuity to some of my card tricks?
And when you see the way Greg sets it up too, like part of it is the presentation. I think it's very challenge-esque, right? Yep. And it's just great.
I also think that I'm going to go back and watch the Diamond Jim Tyler lecture. That would be one thing that I would put in my should I buy it, but I think I'm going to watch it again because I already own it because it's a really good lecture. And watching Diamond Jim like tell those stories and also like perform some real stuff to real people is just you want to learn from one of the greats.
He's great, just great. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Diamond Jim.
Well, that is going to do it for this week. We'll be right back here at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Cool Box Live. Next week, our physical product bonanza. It's going to be awesome. My name is Eric Tate, alongside Nick Lacapo. On behalf of everyone else at the P3 Magic Studios, we'll see you next time.